glad the Venture Edition was even available, because it pretty much had everything I wanted from the vehicle stock, minus the tires and the sliders. This thing was ready to go for camping trips and these long road trips. So I'm hoping that they take some of this experiment with the Venture Edition and at least offer a similar option when they release the new 4Runner, or whatever 4Runner that they come out with. I think that this rack is a bit more usable than the one that's on the TRD Pro, just because it's fully enclosed, or it has like a fully wraparound bar. Because let me tell you, when you're putting stuff on the roof of your vehicle and you're going 80 miles an hour, you want to have confidence that your stuff is locked in and locked down good. And I feel like this rack does a pretty good job of that. So I hope in the future vehicles, the future 4Runners, I hope that the rack they use is more similar to this one. Also, the design on the Venture Edition, at least the one that I ended up with, I think is just stellar. I would have been a little bit more tempted to go with a TRD Pro if it wasn't so expensive, but also they just didn't have the dark blue color, which I really like, so I was able to get that in the Venture Edition and check off most of the other boxes that I have. So, but yeah, the dark blue and then having the gunmetal wheels, I think, you know, I've said this in my other video about the 4Runner, but I just think it's an awesome color combination, and I really think it looks great in a sea of all of these trucks and off-road vehicles that have blacked out wheels. I'm not a big fan of the blacked out wheels. I think that some of the design uniqueness gets lost when you have blacked out wheels. Sometimes they look awesome, like my buddy's Jeep, he's got like traditional Jeep wheels that are blacked out, and that looks really good. But a lot of these trucks I see, and SUVs, the wheels are hideous, and I don't understand what the appeal there is. So I was really happy with this color combination, and the fact that it had, you know, the roof rack and the blacked out mirrors and the bumper and the emblems and stuff like that. Really just, it gives it an awesome look. I think it looks gorgeous, and I'm very happy with that. So yeah, what else? Off-roading. So really great system. I love the crawl control. I hope the new 4Runner gets that new quiet crawl control that's in the Tundra. I haven't done enough off-roading to really test this thing and put it through its paces and find its limits. I did do some in Moab and in Colorado so far, but I'm still waiting for the right opportunity and the right trip to kind of get this thing really dirty and see what it can do and what it can't do. But just kind of like in general, some things that I'd like to see based on what I've seen in some newer Toyotas and some other vehicles. I really hope that they try to, you know, go the route of offering a disconnectable sway bar. The KDSS is good, but I don't think it offers as much flex as the disconnectable sway bar that you can get in the Bronco and the Jeep. So on the TRD Pro or off-road options in the new 4Runner, I hope that they have one or both of those options available or stock. It would be awesome. Also, with the multi-terrain select, you currently can't use it when you're in 4 high on the 4Runner. And so I hope that they change that like they did with the Tundra, so you can use those different off-roading options in 4 high, because really 4 low is a very kind of specific situation. That's going to be when you're essentially doing very slow speed crawling, but I think it would be good to have those multi-terrain options available with 4 high. Also, it would be cool if there was a 4-wheel auto option. I know that this is something that's being talked about a lot in the community because Ford does it on their F-150s and the Bronco and stuff. And that would be a cool feature because, you know, a lot of folks, I feel, that get 4Runners, they probably don't even know how to use the all-wheel drive or the four-wheel drive system, or 4 high, 4 low. They probably just don't understand it. I barely understood it when I got the vehicle. But when you're in a vehicle like this, at least with the Venture Edition, which again is a TRD off-road underneath, it's still a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So if you're going to be driving in rain or snow, I think a lot of people would assume that this, really off-road looking vehicle is just going to take care of the situation. But that is not true, and especially not true with the stock tires. If you have those stock all seasons and you don't shift into 4 high and you're doing 80 in the rain, you're asking for a bad time. Whether it's hydroplaning or spinning out, or spinning out in the snow, that would not be an ideal situation. And I don't think people realize when you get these off-road spec 4Runners, even the TRD Pro, that the 4Runner is not going to just magically take care of you. There is A-track and there is some traction control, but that's not the equivalent of using 4-wheel drive. So it would be nice to see a 4-wheel auto option. Obviously, they can do it with the Land Cruiser setup, because that's more of an all-wheel drive setup. I'm not sure if that's a limitation, but I know that some of these other brands are doing it, so I feel like it's capable, and I think that would be a worthy feature of the next 4Runner, especially at this price point. Now, one thing I will say though that is cool is you can use 4 high, or you can shift to 4 high real easily on the fly in the 4Runner. It's a real smooth, even though it's got the meaty shifter, it's really easy to shift to 4 high. So that's at least pretty cool. I know the Jeeps aren't as easy to do that. I do hope they keep the shifter. They probably won't, but I hope they keep it. I like it better than the switches that they're putting in the new vehicles. But anyway, those are kind of my feelings. And then the cameras is the other thing. So the newest 4Runner, the 2022, has some off-road cameras, but they look pretty low res, and I don't think that they're as sophisticated as what's out there on some of these other trucks. So it would be really cool if the 4Runner got cutting-edge off-road cameras, best of breed. Because again, if we're expecting that this new 4Runner isn't going to be redesigned again for another 5 years after that, they really got to go big on these new vehicles that they're releasing so they can keep up, because the competition is insane. I mean, a lot of these new trucks have all these undercarriage cameras where you can see what the wheels are doing, and all kinds of things, 360 cameras. So